Well, let's find out, though, as the qualifying heat, Group B and D, makes their way out onto the circuit. This is a busy old grid, 25 drivers in total. And like you say, those 3 drivers are starting in the top 3 rows as well. Hugo Manes, Timo Ramakas, Thomas Kinsey, Austin Gale, Angelo Parenka and Sandro Perez, the top 3 rows. They are going to be the main protagonists who are going to change these results, aren't they?
Indeed. Dan Dalakian and Zach Green together on the 4th row, then Sacha Van Bosch and Tyrone Kinard, Bertram Saxa and Sam Woolley, Louis Camille and Connor Clancy, then Jensen Graham and Elvis Krasauskas, then Kilian Josselin and Jorn Helder, Timo Koopmans and Vilma Svan, Raoul van Tharen and Henry Carter, then Giovanni Tarrafona, Enzo Pedraza and Hugo Marti rounding out the grid. But the big 3 are the ones to watch in this one. Thomas Kinsey, who leads currently, is going off P3. Sandro Perez, who is currently in P2, is going off P6. And then Hugo Mañas, who is 3rd in the rankings, is on pole position.
Yeah, this is going to be, well, it's the decider really for the results and where they're going to be starting for tomorrow's races. So stay tuned in. Grab that cup of tea if you've not had one already. I've had 3 cups of tea today. They're going down like a storm.
I tell you who might pull off a nice surprise here and suddenly emerge in the top 5. Zach Green.
You know what? I was thinking that. He's looked quick all day.
Yeah, and he currently finds himself there on the 4th row of the starting grid alongside Dan Dalakian. He started 8th for all of his races. And you know what? He's actually managed to pull out only 13 points from the 2 races. Now, that doesn't sound like a decent score so far. But when you consider that the men in front of him, Clark, Mackie, Bartle and Sharp, have all finished up for the day, and then you've got the likes of Kinsey, Perez and Mañas who could have some difficulties, if Green can get himself into a reasonable position, he could actually remain within those top 4 rows. There's a lot of pressure on him to do that, obviously, but there could be a rather pleasant end to the race day for Zach Green. If he could just get himself up into the top 3, he'll only add another 3 points to his tally. So there is an opportunity here for him to bow out on his own terms.
Well, we'll have to wait and see on that one as the warm-up laps get underway and the formation start will commence very, very soon. What's the track temperature up to now? It's getting warmer, 13 degrees now.
Yeah, it's 13 degrees air temperature, so in terms of track temperature, you're probably looking at 26, 27 maybe, so it's not a massive distance away from it. So there is still a good opportunity to see what these tyres will give us in the closing ranks. Is this going to be a false start?
No.
Yes, it is.
Well, yes, yeah, it is going to be a false start. So, yeah, well, there you go. We wanted to get the race underway sooner rather than later, but no, never mind. We'll go again.
Yeah, the repeater light comes on, and it's up to race director Martin Bean and his circuit assistant, the track manager Gonzalo, to bring everything back together.
Who, did you know, is the best race director in Spain? He's only done 4 race weekends, though.
Okay, what's he paying you? What's he paying you?
No. I'm only stating the facts that what I've been told.
Excellent. The check is in the post. Gonzalo. No, we get on very, very well indeed with Gonzalo. He's one of the only people who can cope with Martin Bean for an entire day. Anyway, qualifying heat B versus D, running close proximity, Hugo Mañas and Thibaut Ramakas. Thibaut really has had his back to the wall throughout the entirety of this weekend. Most of that, of course, has come from the fact that he has started on the front row, but on the wrong side of the grid to maximise it. So he's just been in a very unfortunate position. For me, watch out for Kinsey and Proenza. They're going to want to try and storm through behind Hugo Mañas. Sandro Perez is going to have to work very hard indeed to keep up with those guys on the inside line of the grid. And for Thibaut Ramakas, he just wants to salvage something from today's racing. Let's see if we go green. We do. Up to the first corner. Ramakas is going to hold it present round the outside. He's actually going to get a beautiful start. Second position. He tucks in right behind Hugo Mañas. Mañas still trying to hold it together. And round the outside to take the lead is Austin Gale. That is a mighty launch from Austin Gale. Now he's going to have to try and hold off the pressure from Sandro Perez. Perez gets onto the grass, though. Goes grass tracking. He will rejoin, tucked up behind Mañas and Ramakas, and that will see them go through. But Austin Gale, what a firecracker he was out of the second row on the far side.
Yeah, that was a brilliant start. Well calculated on the outside. We've not seen many people manage to pull that off. So he started on the outside row, and he's now leading going into the end of the first lap. Brilliant result. He kind of looks like a senior out there more than a junior, but doing a fabulous job. He is definitely punching a hole in the air for the rest of the field behind.
So Thibaut Ramakas settles in P3 and just in front of the 41 of Thomas Kinsey. Angelina Proença still seems to be up towards the sharp end of the dais as well. So a very interesting start, but Hugo Mañas is exactly where he needs to be to get himself into a reasonable position. As they come across the line, Cathal Clark is currently leading the standings again. So all of the prime movers are outside their best possible positions. So that's where they really need to make a bit of a charge forward. So Mañas is currently second, Kinsey is currently fourth, Perez is currently fifth. Make that third for Mañas, because now Ramakers has come through into second position, and this is perfect if you are Cathal Clark on the sidelines, because he doesn't have to do any more hard work out there, but he's watching his rivals let it slip through their fingers.
He is indeed, Thomas Kinsey, under pressure as well, as down the inside goes Sandro Perez. So Perez now pushing up into P4 is looking good for the points. Remember, these get updated every single lap, and at the moment, with everyone in their positions, guess who's on pole for tomorrow? It's Cathal Clark.
Yes, indeed. Cathal Clark looking really strong for that at the moment as he continues on his way for the Victory Lane karting squad this weekend. But now that mega start from Austin Gale has suddenly come undone, because Ramakers and Mañas are working together, teaming up and going for it. And as you mentioned, Austin Gale, being one of the taller drivers, is cutting a huge hole in the air. Ramakers and Mañas pop up to the inside. Thanks for the memories, boy. We are through, and Ramakers takes the lead from Mañas. And that is a brilliant way for Tibor Ramakers to try and force himself back into the overall top 10.
Yes, indeed. So this is good stuff now. Can they work together and pull away? No, they're going to immediately battle, and Mañas now retakes the lead, goes back up into his original starting spot in this one, and Ramakers back down into his original starting spot. A lot of drivers under investigation, though. Not sure what that's for. Maybe for the start.
Well, yes, indeed. And there is Jorn Helder, who is under investigation, and also Timo Koopmans. So two drivers towards the tail end of the field. And we also have starting issues for Enzo Pedraza and Henry Carter. So there's four drivers towards the tail end of the field there under investigation for what we think may be jumping out of the tram lines at the start. But now that Hugo Mañas has come back through into the lead of the race, this is actually going to provisionally put him into pole position for tomorrow's encounters, because in terms of the aggregate, Hugo Mañas, I think, is actually going to overtake Clark, is he? Or is it going to be on countback? Because that's where it's going to be particularly prevalent as he comes through. Yes, Mañas will be in front. And there goes Perez. He makes the move now on Ramakers to get into second place. Raul Thanthanen with a warning flag. That's going to give him a 5-second penalty. But Sandro Perez has been working his way through systematically from 6th to 5th to 4th to 3rd to 2nd. And now he's going to be challenging for the lead of the race on the inside of Hugo Mañas. And he comes through. Brilliant from Sandro Perez. What did I say about the way he's able to make progress? Here he comes into the lead of the race now. And I think he could be the one to take pole position away from Cathal Clark.
Possibly so, and like you say, you were bang on what we were saying earlier on, just saying that he knows how to get through the field if he needs to. As so late under braking there, but back down the inside goes Ramakers, holds on to second place as the race goes through. Toby Gale still in this fight, still there, P4 pushing them along. As a little bit wide there goes Zach Green. Zach Green up to P5.
Yeah, Zach Green's really charging forward. I think he's been able to look after his tyres a little bit better than some of the drivers around him through the course of the first two heats, which is why he's now got a better set coming into this final race of the day. So as they come through and sweep in at the end of lap 4 with 3 laps to go in the Junior X30 qualifying heats, Sandro Perez leads the race and the interim standings, but Gale is working with Ramakers to try and take it back again, and Timo Ramakers up the inside. Gale's going to try and go with Sandro Perez, and they both get through. 1 and 2, Ramakers and Gale both managing to get past Sandro Perez. Now here comes Green diving in on the inside, and he gets past Austin Gale and manages to get the overtaking move done. So that's very nicely handled. So Ramakers, Mañas, Perez, Gale, Zach Green. But Mañas gets back into the lead of the race past Tibor Ramakers. So Mañas retakes the lead, and there's going to be a battle further up. Sandro Perez going wheel to wheel with Ramakers, and Ramakers is on the grass. And Perez is going to get swamped. First by Gale, then by Green, and the 41 of Kinsey.
That's a disaster for Timo Ramakers. He was doing so well, now falling down the order. Mañas now with a huge advantage over Toby Gale. Here, though, Sandro Perez has got the company of Zach Green, who's got Thomas Kinsey all over the back of his bumper as Hugo Marti sets the fastest lap of the race. But eyes are going to be on this group. Not many laps to go. This is getting very exciting. Who's going to start on pole for tomorrow?
Well, it looks like it's going to be Hugo Mañas. All he has to do is hang on to this in the lead of the race, and he's got 9/10 of a second with 2 to go. So I think he's just been given license to run away and hide. Who would have thought that the privateer could go into tomorrow with pole position very much in control? This is an amazing charge forward. Here comes Sandro Perez up the inside of Gale, gets in a second position. Now, that's not quite going to be enough for Sandro Perez to make use of that. He's going to tie tie with all three men to be on 6 points. Yellow flags up at turn 4. We seem to have lost Sam Woolley and Tyrone Kinnard, and there is an absolutely furious Sam Woolley getting going again, with Tyrone Kinnard rejoining behind him, I think. No, sorry, that's Jensen Graham, who had an incident earlier on as well. A big shuffle of the deck again. Sacha van Bosch going wheel to wheel there with the number 27. That is Daniel Dalakian, the Armenian. And they continue to run through on the far side. That is the Jana Racing car, the number 42 there of Angela Proenza. So they continue to make good racing of it, but out in front, Hugo Mañas has not only been able to extend the gap, he's stretching it out even further now that Perez and Gale continue their charge. So Hugo Mañas is just one step away now from getting the interim pole position. And get this, if it ends like this, Mañas will have 6 points, Clark will have 6 points, Mackie will have 6 points, Perez will have 6 points. It all comes down to count back.
That is astonishing after all the races we've had today. It's been exciting all the way throughout for so many to finish it on joint points. But as they go through, Mañas now 2.1 second advantage over this man on your screens right now, Sandro Perez, who has Austin Gale still for company. Austin Gale's been absolutely fantastic in this final race for juniors today.
Thibaut Ramacus has come off the road again, and this time I think it's for good up at turn 2 to 3. So Thibaut Ramacus has not come through at the end of this lap. But who would have thought it? I've been commentating on IAME Euro Series now for 5 seasons, coming into my 6th, and never have I known the top 4 drivers score the same number of interim qualifying heat points. Perez has 6 points, Mackie has 6 points, Clark has 6 points, but the man who crosses the line first is Hugo Mañas, and he is going to take the win and pole position for tomorrow. That is massive for the privateer on the Cali kart. And I think it's just sinking in. He cannot believe what he's done today. Hugo Mañas, in the 3 races, has only accumulated 6 points, and that is enough for the privateer to do the unthinkable. He has taken on the big cats and stormed ahead.
Yeah, it's been a solid drive all day today. Yes, he's not been at the sharp end for all the heats, but it's concluded with him ending the day in Junior X30 on top, and will start tomorrow on pole position for the super heats. You couldn't ask for anything better on the Cali kart there. The Hugo Mañas, the privateer, who's done a fantastic job. Sandro Perez in that one, a very good result though, P2, but that allows Clark to finish in P2 overall with the 6 points from Harrison Mack, who will start on the 2nd row on the inside line. That's going to be the key one. That's probably the optimal place to be, because you can see everything that happens in front of you, but crucially, you have that inside line. That's going to be the most important one. Let's have a look then at the results at the end of that one. Hugo Mañas takes it from Sandro Perez, Austin Gale, Zach Green, Thomas Quint, and Sacha van Bosch, Angela Proenza, and Daniel Dalakian, Hugo Marti, and Vilma Sven, Bertram Sacha and Louis Cohen, Gillian Jonathan, Connor Patrick Clancy, and Henry Carter. The top 15 out there, a brilliant result for the rest of the field. Only one retirement of that race. Right at the end of it, Timo Ramacus, and there is his stricken kart there. Not sure what happened at the end, but he had the excursion on the exit of turn 7. Managed to keep it going, and then the next lap it came to a stop, so potentially a breakdown there. There's a look at the rest of the results on your screen as well. But yeah, a few drivers there who did struggle. Tyrone Kinnard, Jensen Graham, Sam Woolley,